Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 2 of Women Making an Impact. I'm like so excited for this journey. The goal of Women Making an Impact is to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategy that you need to build your confidence, amplify your voice, know your worth, and of course, to dress like the leader you're becoming. Today, I'm talking about women in leadership and what you should be doing to get a seat at the table, right? What is it you should be doing to get a seat at the table? So if you're watching us live, thank you very much for joining. Let us know in the comments that you're here live, that you're ready to get into this conversation and really learn how you can really amplify your voice and really show up as that leader you are. If you're watching us on the replay, thank you very much. Let us know that you're watching. Also, drop your questions there. We'll be taking your questions along the way. So make sure that you engage in the comments, you engage by letting us know what's happening. I'm Solita Roberts, founder and image coach at Style to Impact. With me today is my very, very, very special friend and guest, Darine BenAmara. Darine is the CEO and founder of the Smart Woman Enterprise. She's also a personal leadership brand coach. Hi, Darine.
Hello, Solita. How are you doing?
I am good. I am good. I know that you're currently enjoying France on your vacation and you took a much needed break from social media. So I
Mhm.
am absolutely, absolutely like grateful for you to, taking this time to show up and really helping women connecting in this space how to develop their online presence. So I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Now, before we dive into today's conversation of how you can develop your online leadership status, I think it's important that you share your story, Doreen, because it's a reminder to all of us that no matter where you come from, no matter what your circumstances are, you can really dream big and really achieve the things that you want. So I want you to take this opportunity to really tell us your story for those of us who have never heard your story before. I mean, I was privileged enough not only to share a stage with you as a guest on your LinkedIn Live, but also seeing your story, you popping up and sharing that photo, that very impactful photo on LinkedIn that I think a lot of us don't get to see that side of many women in leadership position. We come on, we give that clean cookie cutter, but to see that kind of truth, to see where
Mhm.
you came from and where you are now, I think that's powerful. So share your story, Doreen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Solita. Thank you for the kind introduction. So, hi, everyone. I'd like to introduce myself as a living proof that when you believe in yourself, you are unstoppable. I was born and raised in the poorest city of France, so way far, far away from Paris and all the glam from Paris. I was raised by a single mom, so growing up, I had 3 meals a day. My mama didn't. And so, I quickly realized that, okay, I had to be able to optimize and to leverage the little things that I had. Otherwise, there was no way out for me, actually. And so, fast forward, I ended up in the White House. And this is when my life completely changed. And this powerful photo that Solicita just mentioned actually is a picture of me when the day I landed in Canada, because I'm based in Canada. I'm currently in vacation in France, but I'm based in Canada now. And the day I landed in Canada, I had my 3 pieces of luggage. It was me, this little girl with nothing, no English, no experience, no nothing. But I knew that I had enough strength to build my Canadian dream. And so then the before and after basically is me being the CEO of my own company, being a published author, and being a successful based on social standards, right? Then success is really different to each one of us, a woman in leadership. And so I was able to build an international career, working with women always in 10 different countries, from the grassroots work to the high level decision making. And yes, if I did it starting from nothing, with nothing but just me and my willingness to learn and to go beyond everything, you can do it too. That's the message, and that I share through my work. This is what I coach high achieving women on, and this is also what I like to share with women like Solita also, because her work is very important and does complement actually what I do with helping women stepping into their inner leadership, because we know it most of the time, and maybe we will talk about it as
Yep.
Solita. We know it from within. It's just like based on the context and everything we were told since we were a little girl, just pushed us to hold back
Yep.
the leader from within. And when it comes to express it, we feel confused, we feel overwhelmed, we feel like we don't dare to showcase who we are as a leader. And this is where Solita and myself are stepping into supporting other women.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an incredible and powerful story. And as an immigrant myself, I can completely relate to, just showing up in a new country and all you have is your belongings. And now you're trying to tap into all that inner strength and everything that you are as a woman, and really show up and make a mark for yourself. So it's just incredible. Diane said in the comments, whoa, just the whiteout. That is amazing. That's fantastic. So thank you very much, Diane, for popping in. I appreciate that. Now, before we get into the rest of the conversation, I want to remind the audience, if you're watching live, leave your questions, leave your comments. Let us know that you're here. Also, let us know, what are some of the challenges that you may have be experiencing as a woman trying to get into the C-suite, get into leadership position. What are some of those mindset blocks that are stopping you?
Mhm.
Because if you just listen to Doreen just said, it's about tapping into you, right? And sometimes we allow society and everything around us and everyone around us to really control and stop us from pushing forward. So let us know in the comments, what are some of your experiences or mindset challenges that you're going through in really developing yourself and owning your leadership position? So let us know that. And so Doreen, I wanted to know, right, like what is we're talking about developing your online leadership status, right? First of all, what does that mean? And why is it important to do that as a leader?
Yes. So the short answer to this is people Google you.
Yeah.
Okay, when you meet people in person, and I think in most of the countries now we are getting back to meeting people in person, networking in person, even though the online space has taken like a huge space in the way we communicate and work now. But listen, when you meet someone in person, when you meet someone online, okay, people will Google you. So oftentimes when there is this great conversation happening, this click, oh yes, like she's the person I was looking for. She can bring so much to the company. People will Google you. And then what are they going to find online when they Google your name? Is there enough information online to help people understand your value, to help people understand who you are and how you can make a difference? That's the real question here, because oftentimes, and you can just like see it for yourself on LinkedIn. If you look at leaders profiles on LinkedIn, most of the time you will see that those people, they are not active, or they are not promoting themselves, or they are not communicating as a leader. So they are not communicating on their competences, on their value, on the impact that they make. So basically, if we Google your name, what's popping up? And so when there is a gap that is too wide between maybe the interaction, the in-person conversation I had with you, with the online presence, then it creates a doubt. And it's really hard to build your know, like, and trust factor when there is no information, very little information, or information that are not relevant to who you are now and that don't showcase your full potential as a leader. And why it's important, Solita? It's because leadership roles, and there are like a lot of studies, public studies available on the internet for you to double check. Leadership roles are given are given based on the potential,
Yeah.
on someone's potential. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the best way for someone to appreciate your potential is to understand again who you are, what are your value, what are your competencies, and how you can help them make a difference. And so we think now with COVID-19 and everything that happened, it has changed for a lot of people, but not enough for women. Not enough, and I see it with all my clients. Like most of the time, the same questions come back again. Oh, but what if I start posting and that I upset people? What if people don't appreciate what I share, or when I share my thought on LinkedIn, So there is like so many things holding us back. The fear of inadequacy, the fear of judgment, the fear of backlash, that finally we don't use that platform, that online space, to build our leadership status.
Yeah. I mean, that is, I know when I was thinking of building my personal brand, that's always been the focus. Like, what's on the internet about me
Mm-hmm.
that whenever you Google Solita Roberts, what is it you're going to see? And is it in line with my message? Is it in line and in keeping what I want, my ideal clients to know about me? But I think tapping into, I want to talk about what you just said, because there are a lot of women who are scared to promote themselves on social media, who are,
Yeah.
they're in between that space of, what do I say about myself, right? What do I post about? Do I talk about my business, or what aspect of my personal life can I share? So there's that that space that they're in, trying to figure that out. What would you say to those women? Like, how do they show up as they, because we're talking about authentic self and
Yeah.
authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fake post whatever on social
Yeah.
because you're trying to develop and trying to show this persona when it's not actually you. What would you suggest, and how do you coach women in that aspect of showing up as themselves? Because we're going back to your photo. Not a lot of women would want to post that photo on social media and talk about their story, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes you you. That's what helps you to connect
Exactly.
with your audience. That's what shows your leadership qualities, right? Like, you not only being vulnerable, but you're also empowering other women. So what would you say to those women who are holding back because of fear of not knowing what to post, and what would you suggest that they do?
So there is a couple of things here, Solita, and that's a very good question. Thank you for asking. So first of all, building a personal brand is not only for entrepreneurs or business leaders. You can have a 9 to 5 and build your personal brand. Actually, 99% of my clients are women who have been working for a period of time within big corporations most of the time, and they feel like they are undervalued, underappreciated, and that it's time for them to get into leadership, but they don't know how to do it. And exactly because of the fear of judgment, will my employer appreciate it, right? Will my colleagues think that, oh, okay, she's like searching another job?
Yeah.
But let me clarify something here. Either you are an entrepreneur, business leader, or working 9 to 5, or working in a corporate, I should say, because we know that the 9 to 5 is a myth.
Yeah.
we, work, we work way more than that. Okay. So
Yeah.
let's say you work in the corporate or as a business owner. You need a personal brand because people do business with people. People hire people that they know, like, and trust. Again, right? So when it comes to the fear of judgment, what will they think about me? First of all, there is a strategy behind. It's not about like posting content. And I know there is this crazy idea, or I have to post, I have to post, I have to post. Yes, but it's not about posting if you don't have a proper strategy behind.
Yeah.
And I like to keep things simple. So what I tell my clients is, and all the women, is you already create content on a daily basis. And you don't have to be an expert with a PhD on a certain topics in order to speak about it.
Yeah.
So one of my clients work in in diversity and inclusion in the public sector with public clients, and she works for a big corporation. And she's like, and I'm like, okay, what are you passionate about? What is it that you want to help people achieve? What is it that you want to help your clients achieve? But outside of your clients, so outside of a portfolio,
Yeah.
what do you want to help achieve? And she's very passionate about helping increasing diversity and inclusion in STEM. So we are talking about women in STEM. So
Yeah.
I told her, you can talk about women in STEM. You are a woman in STEM, and you are passionate about it. And actually, she wasn't sure at the beginning she could do that, because based on what we are told, she didn't have any expertise about women in STEM. She didn't have a degree, she didn't have a published paper, and all of this. But I just reminded her that she was a woman in STEM. So
Yeah.
you share content, you create content based on your own experience. That's very important. You keep it simple. That can be a challenge that you faced and how you overcome this challenge. What are the lessons you learn from it? It's never about positioning yourself as or victimizing yourself. It's always about sharing with your audience, sharing with your network what's the lesson that you have learned from this specific experience. Another example, it can be an article that you read and you know that really triggered something with you. You can share that article and just simply share your thoughts about it. What do you want to share this article with your community, with your network? Why do you think it's important?
Yeah.
It is simple.
It's this is the thing, right? It's those are all great things, and I can remember when I was thinking of transitioning my personal brand onto LinkedIn, because that's the first of all, let's unpack personal branding. We always think that to have a personal brand, you have to have a business, you have to be an entrepreneur, you have to have some form of business, but we're all, as individuals, as you said, whether or not we work corporate or we own a business, we have a personal brand, right? And people want to know who is this person behind, the position or title that you may have, or the company that you have. Persons want to know who's Solita Roberts, right? Who am I? What are some of the things that I'm interested in? And what are some of the things that I like? How did I get into image coaching? And I found that when I started to build my personal brand on LinkedIn, I did what many persons that I've come in contact, and you obviously would have experienced as well, women where they're like, I don't have the quote unquote degrees and I don't have the credentials like everyone else, because we've been told that in the LinkedIn space, it's like you have to have certain things, right? That was the perception of it. And I remember trying to establish myself on LinkedIn, and I got on there and I looked at it and I'm like, looked at my profile, I looked at myself, I'm like, oh, I don't have what everybody has there, right? I don't have the qualifications, I don't have the degrees. But it was until I decided for myself, like you said, what am I passionate about? Right. So I knew I wanted to be an image coach. I knew I wanted to be a personal stylist, teaching women how to really look the part and how to really show up in a powerful and authentic way, wearing clothes that they love and they feel comfortable in. And I was like, okay, what do I do? How do I talk about this? And from that perception, I kind of did what I called putting on my blinders to everything else that was happening around me on LinkedIn, and kind of put my first content out. I honestly don't remember what I spoke about that first piece of content, but I decided in myself, like, okay, I'm going to put it out. And then I'm
Mm.
going to put out another piece. And then I'm going to put out another piece. So building a confidence in myself to talk about the things that are important to me, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And where at the same time, not only important to me, but I'm able to inspire and empower other women to show up as themselves. So I think that's so important. And that's the reminder I think that we have to leave, is that put yourself out there doing the things that you really, really feel passionate about, sharing how you want to, what do you want your audience to know about you, right?
Yeah.
So how do we go about building? I mean, we touched on a few, but
Mm-hmm.
how do we go about really building this leadership status? Because we want to build it and then elevate ourselves, right? How do we go about building it?
So there is three key pillars to your personal brand. The, the first pillar is like who you are as a person. And here we are talking about your story, storytelling. Being a leader is not a job title. Okay. So, first of all, your job title doesn't define you as a leader. Okay. And it's much more than that. Being a leader is being able to touch people's heart when you speak to them. It's being able to trigger something in people when you communicate with them. And what creates emotion is story, right? So storytelling. So this is where vulnerability is very powerful, because when you share your story, and I really want to make the difference here between your story and your private life, and I think it's especially important for us women. Your private life remain your private life. I'm very active on social media. Solita is very active on social media. You know a lot about us, about our story, but you know nothing about our private life. Right?
So
So don't.
important to know the distinction. Yep.
Exactly, because oftentimes people are like, and I see it with my own clients, they are like, yes, but I'm concerned with my privacy and all of this. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with your private life. When we talk about sharing your story, it's about sharing the chapters of your life
Yep.
that you think are relevant to the impact that you want to make.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, in my case, it's important for me to position myself as a leader, but as a leader from a visible minority. I'm an immigrant woman. I moved to a country with nothing, no language skills, no money. I have my degree, of course, but you don't go that far with just a piece of paper
Yep.
in your bag, right?
Yep.
That's the reality. But when I was looking around, I didn't see female role models looking like me. Like, and I wish I had this when I moved to another country, that, okay, you can be an immigrant woman and still be successful. You can speak English with an accent
Yeah.
and still be successful. For the longest time, I held myself back and I thought that I would never be successful because I didn't speak English like a native speaker, right? But I didn't have anybody to identify myself with. And like, so it was so much important for me to share that part of my story with other women, because I want to let you know that this is possible. So those are the chapters of my life that I'm willing to share and that I want to share with my community, because this is relevant to the impact that I want to make, right, in their lives. So storytelling, again, is about the chapters of your life that you feel are relevant, teaching a lesson, touching like people's heart, sharing a story that will inspire others. We like, no one cares about perfection. There is this misconception, especially for us women as
Yep.
leaders, that we need to portray the perfect image of the perfect leader. It's not true, and we know it. And this is not how we create that connection with people. We create that connection with people when we tell them, this is the reality, this is what I went through, and this is how I became who I am. You are giving hope to people. So this is storytelling. The second pillar, I'm very passionate about it, so I'm sorry if I'm
That is, yeah.
the second pillar is really what you are passionate about. What do you do outside of your work, basically? Maybe you like volunteering. Maybe you like taking care of your family. All of these elements are like proof that you are like a leader, right? Outside of your workplace again, that you are a person, that maybe you can share a passion that no one else has, or maybe this passion can, gather people around you. And then the third pillar is what you do for a living. And here we are talking about your work, your expertise, your competencies, right? Because just keep in mind that, and I like to do this analogy, if you hang out with someone 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, and that this person keep talking about work, 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 okay, are you going to hang out to this person? Like, not really, because we are much more than that. That's
Yeah.
the same with personal branding. If you keep only talking about work, 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 then people are not going to come back to your profile. People are not going to relate to you, because it will be hard to create that emotional connection with you as a leader. And if you look at all the great leaders, how do we know them for? For the stories that they share. So those are the three, in a nutshell, of course, the three key pillars of your personal brand. And those are the things that you need to put out there in order to start building your leadership status. Because again, it's very important for me to remind you that your job title doesn't define you as a leader.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, right? To remember that factor. It's not about your job title. It's about who you are as a human being. You know, what values, what contribution, what type of impact are you trying to make, and really share that. So before we move on, I want to thank our audience who are watching live. I see we have audience coming from New York, and we have from Libya. So thank you very much for joining us. If you're watching the replay as well, drop your comments, your questions that you may have when it comes to really showing up in the leadership space and owning your truth and sharing your story, because I think storytelling is so impactful. And one of the things that really brings me joy, just like the way you're talking about storytelling, I like to talk about storytelling through the clothes that we wear, right? Because as leaders, what you wear and how you present yourself tells a story about you, especially now that we're talking about building brands on, within this online space. It's like when you look at your profile picture, when you look at the clothing that you wear when you show, what is the story that is telling about you, right? And it's important to not only have that conversation and talk to your audience about the things that are important to you, but also knowing your full story in terms of how you're showing up and what that says to you, in terms of what you're wearing. So it's something, yeah, personal branding is, someone says personal branding is so important. Yes, it is important, right? It's beyond, I think when all of us got into this space of creating businesses and really talking about personal branding, we always thought, like, the yesteryear conversation of personal branding was just the website and the logo. It's like, no, that's not what personal branding is anymore. It's about you as an individual and how you're showing up as the most authentic version of yourself, and speaking on things that are important to you, and then really engaging in a conversation that builds community and empowerment of, in my case and in your case, of women, right? Women,
Mhm.
whether or not it's in minority positions or women on a whole. So thank you very much for that, Doreen. Let's talk about what are some of the outcomes, because we always talk about some person, some women is like, okay, so when I do that, what do I get? Right? When I
Yeah,
do this
that's a
personal brand,
legitimate
what
question.
what's for me? What do I get from it? So let's talk about that for a moment.
Sure. So the thing is, personal branding has been around forever. Like, it has been trending maybe in the past 2 years, but it has been around forever. It's your professional reputation. It's the way you connect with people. Is the way you present yourself, as you said. And so when you start putting yourself out there, when you start creating content, what do you get out of it? Of course, like, you want to get the return on investment.
Yes.
And basically, when you start building your personal brand, you invest in yourself, and you invest in your future. Why? Because when you build the know, like, and trust factor, when you are known by the right people for the right reasons, you create opportunities.
Yep.
Opportunities come to you. That's a reality.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we call inbound marketing. Instead of knocking on doors and pushing your message out and, you know, trying to convince people that you are the perfect fit for the role, or that, and there is something that I want to say here, especially for us women. You don't want to be the candidate, the leader by default. That's very important for me, because you have a you are coming from a visible minority. When we talk about diversity and inclusion, you know, they have quotas. I don't want to be a quota person. I don't
Yeah.
want to be a candidate because you know, because of the quota. I want to be at the highest level. I want to be at the top level because I know I have a seat at the table,
Yeah.
right? And so when you build your personal brand, what you do, you position yourself in a place of power, because you diversify your opportunities. So you create opportunities for you to pick and choose from based on what you want to achieve, being a business leader, being a corporate leader, even being a political leader. We don't talk about enough about women in politics.
Yeah.
But when you position yourself and build your leadership status online, when people Google your name and they are like, wow, I didn't know this person, I didn't know this about her. When you are able to create this consistent a cohesive image online and offline, you attract opportunities. Okay. And I think for us as women, high achieving women leaders, having choices is very important, because when you create choices for yourself, you don't have to stay in a situation where you feel miserable.
Yeah.
You don't have to sacrifice so much in order for your management team and your leadership team to see your value. You don't have to kill yourself over it.
Yeah.
And because you think that you have worked so hard for it, and you have spent maybe 5 to 10 years in this organization or working on this specific project, that you don't want to give up and find yourself with nothing. No, you don't. But you don't have to stay in a situation that doesn't fulfill you anymore. You don't have to stay in a situation where you are not appreciated for your real value, for your real potential. And so when you build again your personal brand, you create options for yourself to pick
Absolutely.
and choose from based on what you want to achieve.
Absolutely. That is so powerful that we have to remember that as women. When we build our personal brand, we get the option of choosing, of deciding what space, what opportunity that we want to take. So it's so important that we do that as women. So Doreen, I want to thank you very much for, taking the time out of your vacation to being here and sharing your knowledge and sharing your experience with the audience, who, whether or not they're watching live or you're watching your replay. We appreciate you being here. Doreen, for those that are watching that may not, maybe this is the first time that they're hearing about you and they want to get in contact with you, how can viewers reach you?
Sure. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Darine BenAmara. You can also, in the search bar on LinkedIn, use the hashtag The Smart Woman, and you will see all my content. Send me a DM. I'm very approachable and like talking to you. If you have any questions, any concern, you have no idea how many DMs I receive
Yeah.
from women who like feel like miserable in their workplace, and they know they deserve better,
Yeah.
and from other women who have been promoted to a leadership role, and now that they want to ensure that they build a personal brand that legitimate their presence at the top.
Yeah.
So send me a DM on LinkedIn, or you can visit my website, thesmartwmn.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much for watching. Remember that while you're building your online leadership presence, it's also important that you look the part, right? So if you have any questions in terms of how to find your personal style, be sure to click on the link that I will drop in the comments. You can send me a DM as well. and to schedule a style consultation with me. I want to thank the audience who are watching live. If you join us live, we appreciate you being here. I see the comments. I'll get back into the comments and answer those questions that you have. If you're watching the replay, be sure to drop your questions as well, and also connect with Doreen. I mean, her story is really powerful, and the work that she's doing as well. So if you are looking to really elevate your leadership qualities and really get position yourself to get those opportunities that you want, make sure that you connect with her. This series that we have of Women Making an Impact. It happens every Monday, excuse me, at 12 p.m. Eastern. So remember to join me then. Set your reminders. Thank you very much for joining. I will see you next time. Have a great week, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye, everyone. Thank you.